Not to freak you out, but we've been trained and conditioned by the corporate world to be able to identify hundreds of logos in an instant. Think about it. You see a particular logo and you know where it's from in less than a second. You want ice cream? Baskin-Robbins pops up in your head. Like social media, you're probably thinking about Facebook. If I'm right, okay, I have to confess, I might be psychic. Well, not really, but for real, there is more to most logos than what we immediately see. Here are 15 hidden images and logos you never noticed. Thanks for hanging out with me at The Wacky. Let's take our relationship to the next level by subscribing to our channel. Don't worry, this is a very open relationship. All you need to do is click the red subscribe button and click the gray bell. London Symphony Orchestra. London, the capital of England and the United Kingdom. That country that blessed us with Harry Potter and Doctor Who. I'm still waiting for the doctor to come and take me away, or at least get my acceptance letter to Hogwarts. One can dream, right? Even though it was founded in 1904 and is considered to be one of London's oldest symphony orchestras, they managed to stay modern and up to date. The proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the logo. Here you can see the letters LSO in a fancy red line design. But tilt your head to the left a smidge, or a tidge, or a pitch, you'll see that the letters also make the shape of a conductor with his arms up as if he's leading the orchestra. Did we mention that the LSO is featured in the Star Wars soundtrack as well as Superman, Harry Potter, and Raiders of the Lost Ark? It helps when you have a fan supporter in John Williams. Picasa. While it has since retired, we have to give kudos to the peeps who designed the Picasa logo. Picasa was an online photo organizer for digital images, where you could also edit to your heart's desire. It was great for photoshopping my head onto the body of a model. You know, get inspired for those fitness dreams. Oh look, a donut! While Picasa wasn't the most popular organizing or editing tool, their logo was pretty clever. Here we see that the logo is a colorful take on a camera shutter. Think you've seen it all? Take another peek. The negative space in the middle is in the shape of a house. Why? Look at the name of the company, Picasa. Casa means house in Spanish, and the P is believed to represent pixelated or picture. So here we have a logo that was nearly perfect in the way that it presented its company because every aspect of the name was in the logo. Atlanta Falcons. Football has been one of America's favorite pastimes for a long time, but it has also inspired mass confusion for any American that goes to another country to find out that football is soccer. Why can't we just call everything the same name? Oh yeah, there's that thing called independence. If you're a lover of football, or just an innocent bystander who has to go to football Sunday at the boss's house, you're probably familiar with who the Atlanta Falcons are. If you're cheering for them for Super Bowl 51, you have our sympathies. Hey, be quiet, Patriots fans. Anyway, let's take a peek at the logo for the team. We obviously see a falcon with his talons out, ready to attack and conquer any foe it comes up against. That's fierce. But if you squint your eyes a bit, so you don't see a falcon anymore, you'll see the picture is designed to look like an F. Clever girl. Sun Microsystems. Sun was originally known as Stanford University Network and was founded by Andy Bechtolsheim, who built the 68,000 Unix system for his university network. He eventually went on to create Sun Microsystems in 1982 and primarily focused on computer systems, hardware, software, and other computer-related wares. The company was eventually acquired by another company called Oracle in 2010, but Sun was considered to have one of the cleverest logos in the world. Why? Check out the symbol on the left. If you tilt your head, you'll find the word Sun is written. You can tilt your head to the left or right and Sun will still be there. The fancy term for this kind of art is known as an ambigram. There. Now you have something to impress your friends with at the next party. Who is the mastermind behind this work of art? A computer science professor named Vaughan Pratt. Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium. When designing a logo for a zoo, there's a lot you have to take into consideration. You have to make a splash while showing you're the best of the best. Also, zoos are getting a bit of a bad rap these days thanks to animal activists. But anyways, we're talking about hidden images and logos, right? So if there's nothing else you've learned so far, you should know that when you're looking at a logo, always look at the negative space. With the logo for the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium, you obviously see a black tree. While it's pretty, it's not nearly as interesting as what we see in the negative space. You can see a gorilla's face on the left and a lion's face on the right, and in the middle you see two fish leaping out of water. This all shows you that the location is both a zoo and an aquarium. Not too shabby, eh? Once you see it, you really can't unsee it. Pinterest. Pinterest has become one of the most popular social media sites where people can pin the thing they're interested in. Get it? Pin interest? Anyway, you've probably seen Pinterest's logo all over the place, especially on different websites. If you saw or read something you wanted to pin on your online board, you can pin it with a push of a button. So now let's take a look at the Pinterest logo. Seems pretty standard, right? Well, there's a hidden image in there that can fool even the most observant folks. Look at the P with all the fanciness, giving the name such pizzazz. The P is actually a push pin. Why? Because Pinterest is like an online bulletin board. Remember when you had hundreds of pictures of your favorite celebs from Bot magazine held up with push pins? Pinterest brings back all of those nostalgic feelings all in one logo. Roxy. The surf industry has definitely taken off in the past century to the point where surf and other various sports companies are making their own line of clothing. Of course, you've got to include both genders in the product line if you want to make a profit and be inclusive. If you're into surfing or snowboarding, then you're probably familiar with Roxy. If you're a girl, then you've probably begged your parents for some of the Roxy clothing line. The company is owned by Quiksilver. This is key information. The logo for Roxy is a heart, which is kinda stereotypically girly, but I digress. So because the company is owned by Quiksilver, let's now take a look at their logo, shall we? This might look a bit familiar. That's because the Roxy logo is two Quiksilver logos that have been turned up to look like a heart. It's a sneaky nod to the company's owners while still making a name and image for itself. No Kid Hungry. No Kid Hungry is part of a program called Share Our Strength, which has a goal of ending child hunger in America. They achieve this by providing nutritious foods as well as train their families on cooking affordable meals. Considering that seems to be a lost art in America, this is something that's a definite need in the United States. If you're watching this while eating Mickey D's, you know what I mean. So, when you take a look at their logo, it might tug at their heartstrings a bit. This will definitely be a quiz on what you actually see first, the apple or the hungry children. We see an apple that is clearly down to the core, but then we see that the negative space is the silhouette of a child's profile on each side. Okay, just take my money, guys. We gotta help the children. Tour de France. Le Tour de France, or just simply Tour de France, started in 1903, and it's a bicycle race that happened for over 20 days and hits a good portion of the country. Needless to say, if you're training for this massive race, you'll have leg muscles for days. As we know, Lance Armstrong won a good chunk of medals for his wins, but they were taken away because of, well, steroids. But onto the logo. So we see the name Le Tour de France written all fancy-like with yellow circles integrated in. But take a better peek, the O, U, and R actually make up a little guy riding a bicycle, and that yellow circle is the front wheel. Isn't that clever? But we have to note that since the U is the bicycle seat, it looks rather uncomfortable to sit in. In fact, if you sat wrong, you might get the spiky part of the seat and get an episiotomy for your bottom. Fun! Barehanded. While it may not be a logo for a super famous company, Bear Hair Studio achieved a small amount of fame for their logo. Hey, you gotta get your start somewhere, right? And more exposure means more business, and business leads to money. Located in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, this hair salon has a logo of a bear, which makes logical sense. But while you may think that's a bear's head and legs, if you look at the logo in a different way, you'll see that it's a hand. Okay, we admit that the logo looks a bit hipstery, but let's face it. Most salons and hair studios are taking on the hipster vibe these days, without lots of mustaches styled and shaped with wax, plaid designs with wooden, rustic furnishings, and plenty of booze to inspire us to give bigger tips. NBC. Oh, television, how I wish I could quit you, but then I wouldn't be able to Netflix and chill with myself. Oh, the loneliness hurts. The NBC logo has graced our televisions for decades, and is usually accompanied by that 3-note jingle that haunts my dreams. This is a logo you've probably seen thousands, if not millions of times. But have you actually taken a good look at it? It looks like a fan with 6 different colors. Those colors represent the 6 divisions of the company. Then, that white negative space in the middle is actually the body of a peacock. Considering the position of its head, we can safely assume that the peacock is supposed to be looking at us, deep within our souls and judging us for our past decisions. So that NBC logo is a proud peacock showing off all its colorful wonders while entertaining the airwaves. And it had its premiere in 1956 when the network went to color. World Trade Center. Okay, we're gonna take a break from the usual bad jokes and attempts at humor to be a bit serious. September 11, 2001 was a devastating day that changed the world. Today there is a massive memorial, the Freedom Tower, museum, and 2 reflecting pools where the Twin Towers once stood. The logo for the new World Trade Center has a lot of meaning. First, the logo costs about $3.57 million to design, which is probably one of the biggest price tags associated with a logo design. Second, the logo features a lot of different meanings with just several bars. The 5 black bars represent each building in the new World Trade Center. Not to mention you can kinda see a big W. There's the tridents that were a major design element for the base of the Twin Towers. The 17.76 degree angle represents the 1,776 foot height of the One World Trade Center. Then the 2 light beams that play tribute to the Twin Towers are included, and the 2 below ground bars represent the 2 reflecting pools. Maybe that $3.75 million price tag is justified after all. LG. If you're well versed in the electronics world, then you know LG and Samsung are kind of mortal enemies, especially since they're both from South Korea. They make the same products with slight variations and they're constantly competing with each other. These 2 brands are pretty much dominating the world of electronics and appliances. Samsung's brand is pretty straightforward with its name, but LG is a bit more suave. If you look at the logo, you can clearly see the little L and big G that circles around. But there is something more. Look at the dot. It's meant to be an eye, and the L is a nose, and the G makes part of a winking eye while outlining the face. Come to think of it, if you have an LG product, this face has probably been staring at you for years and years without you ever realizing it. Well, isn't that a little sneaky? I can't help but notice that the logo looks a little bit like a modified Pac-Man, don't you think? Facebook. Okay, here's a hidden image and a logo that probably wasn't intentional by the company, but it's really ironic. Facebook is everywhere. It seems that everyone in the world is on Facebook and we can access it from our computers, phones, TVs, and even our refrigerators. We can't get enough of the technology and social media, and therefore we're always hooked on some kind of electronic. With this in mind, let's take a look at the iconic F design in the Facebook logo. If you change your perception in how you look at things, you can see a double meaning. Again, stay with me here because it's really ironic. Doesn't the F look like a person who is staring down at their phone? I mean, it's the classic look that most of us have nowadays. It's a bit creepy because Facebook was created long before we had smartphones and apps. Did Mark Zuckerberg and his team predict the future when they designed this ship? Maybe they can help me the next time I go for the lotto. McDonald's. So the golden arches are probably the most well-recognized logo in the world. If you think about it, McDonald's kinda owns the world and we're just hanging out on the ride. There is a Mickey D's everywhere from the busiest city to the most remote country. They're rather brilliant in their logo, and studies have shown that kids recognize the logo better than their own name. So we know the golden arches, but has anyone ever messed with them? Well, we know what the arches look like right side up, but what would they look like upside down? Okay, maybe I do have the mind of a teenage boy going through puberty. If you flip the arches upside down, they look like a pair of bosoms. Well, they're not the perkiest, but they're still pretty. And actually, there might be a reason why babies respond well to the fast food chain. Did you enjoy this video? What is your favorite logo? Tell me in the comments and be sure to give this video a like. If you're a fan, make sure you make the wacky a part of your video watching experience by subscribing to our channel.